The book of Deuteronomy is Moses' last sermon to the children of Israel at the end of their 40 years of wilderness wandering before they enter into the land of Canaan. And in Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 21, we read the last of the 10 commandments. Number 10, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. This is the commandment against covetousness. Now, what is covetousness? Well, it is a greed. It is a lust. It is to look with the eyes and desire in the heart. It's a jealousy to look at what someone else has and say, it's not fair that they have that and I don't. I want what my neighbor has. Notice the list that he gives us. It starts out with a neighbor's wife. Well, if you were to desire a neighbor's wife, you got to be careful because that's going to lead to adultery. And so one of the things that we begin to learn is that sin starts in the heart. This is the commandment that really kind of zeroes in on that. To desire the neighbor's wife would lead to adultery. To desire the neighbor's house could lead to murder, could lead to theft. His field or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his ass or anything that is thy neighbor's. All of these things begin in the heart with the desire that's there. Now, Paul says that he was doing pretty good going down the list of the 10 commandments until he got to this one. And he says it like this in Romans chapter 7 and verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So in other words, he says, when I understood that God didn't want me to covet, I realized that was in me, that I was doing that. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin is dead. And so he says, when I realized that, then I begin to see within myself that I do this, that I desire things that I don't have. Well, Colossians chapter 3 and verse 5 says, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. Now we add to it immensely, and it makes you step back and say, no, wait a minute. How is covetousness idolatry? If that's true, then that means that the 10 commandments begin with a commandment against idolatry, and they end with a commandment against idolatry. It's like the bookends. An idolatry of some idol that I might build and then bow down and worship and put before God. And then an idol that I create in my own heart as I look at something that I don't have and want it and desire it and lust after it. Hebrews helps us a little bit more in chapter 5 of verse 13. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Covetousness at the heart is idolatry because what it says is that God's not fair, that God hasn't given me the things that I truly want, and that I'm going to have to go about getting them on my own, rather than trusting God. The book of Hebrews, that verse 5, promises God's presence. Therefore, there's no need to covet. I can be content because knowing that I know God and He loves me and He's my loving Heavenly Father, He's going to give me the things that I need. Rather than covet, I need to ask God. Rather than be greedy and idolatrous and allow these things to consume me, what I need to do is go to God and be content with the things that He's given to me. If there is something that I need to ask Him because He's the giver of good gifts. I just want to encourage you this morning. Trust God. He knows what you need much more than you and I know. I've got all these wants, but sometimes my wants aren't any good. Sometimes what I need is what God needs for me to have. So I just want to encourage you this morning. God bless you. Have a great day.